Hello and welcome to We Learn, Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 13 of the subject Organizing Childcare Services and the chapter Language Development from Words to Sentences. Let's see the topics to be covered. Introduction, adding words, the first sentences, acquiring grammatical structure, language learning, children's mistakes, how children use language, functions of language, variations in language acquisition. Linguists have determined the sequence of language development by recording children's speech in natural settings and analyzing their verbal output. So they have focused on how the child's language gradually acquires the characteristics of adult speech, how the child attributes meaning to words, what the reasons are for differences in the rate of language development, and why children differ in the style they speak. So linguists have actually determined and they've put on a research wherein they study the child's language patterns, the characteristics of adult speech, as well as how the child actually acquires different attributes of adult language and how they attach meaning to different words. Like in the starting, they speak very small syllables and very small words, and how they actually begin to acquire new sentences, new words, and what are the reasons for the difference in the rate of language development of different children. Though they are universal, but why that the reasons that why some children speak language faster and why some children speak in a slower manner, and how they develop their language from childhood to adulthood, and how is the difference in the style they speak. So this is what linguists have tried to study over the years. Adding words. After the infant speaks the first word, she adds a few more words in the next 3 to 4 months. So in the next 3 to 4 months, some more words are added to what the infant speaks. Like in the 3 or 4 coming months, the infant when adds one word like cam, he or she also adds more words to it. Means the vocabulary is enhanced. After this period, the increase in vocabulary is rapid and the toddler adds a new word every few days. Children usually first talk about familiar things. Their words name those people and objects that are most important to them. Usually, toddlers use mama, papa, and milk, dudu or pal or mum first. So these are some of the syllables which the toddlers use to convey what they want to, and to also express themselves in whichever unique and whichever sweet way they can. So in this period, after this period, in a few days, their rate of the word usage and the vocabulary usage increases rapidly. So they add every new word after every word, and in this way they are able to form gradually the sentences as well. The first sentences. The next step in language learning is combining words into sentences. The word the child has learned, but how to make it into a sentence form. The first sentences appear between 18 and 24 months of age. Toddlers form these sentences by combining two words. By having couple words, by combining 2 or 3 words, they are able to form sentences. Though they are not complete, but they are able to form short, small sentences in their own way. Some examples of these 2-word sentences are see cat, where baba, more milk, bus go, give me, to it. So these coupled words or these coupled phrases the child is able to form in this age. Samples of speech taken from toddlers speaking widely different languages show that toddlers across cultures and across languages express such grammatical relationships in their 2-word forms. They also express various grammatical relationships in their 2 words or in their couple words. The early language of children has many common features no matter what language they speak. So the early language, when the child just starts learning a language, they have many common features no matter what language they speak. Some words will be common like mama, dada, baba. These words will be common in whichever in whichever language they would speak, but some words would be common, and there would be common features also, the way they learn language and the way they actually acquire coupled phrases. Now, acquiring grammatical structure. Within a particular language, there is a definite sequence in which children add grammatical forms. Within a particular language, there is always a definite sequence in which children add their own grammatical forms. This sequence will vary from one language to another. So it varies from one language to another. It might not be the same. The rules might not be the same in the two different languages. The toddler acquires the present tense first and uses it the most. The toddler acquires the present tense and uses it the most of the time. Towards the end of toddlerhood, she begins to use past and future tense. When a child is a toddler, only the present tense is known to him or her. But when the toddlerhood is finished, then they also start using past and future tense, because by that time the knowledge of past as well as the future actions or happenings are gained or are taken by the child in their own with their own understanding. However, her usage of the past and the future tenses is not consistent. She uses them in some cases and not in others. The way the past and the future tenses are used, that is not consistent, means that is not properly correct. In some cases it is used, in some cases it is not used, in some cases it is mixed. But the child's skill in using the tenses appropriately improves during the preschool years. During the preschool years, the child's skill and the child learns to develop this skill of using the tenses properly. Whether in English or in Hindi or in any other language, the child learns to use the tenses in a proper manner, like the present actions comes in the present form and the future would go in the future, and the past, the understanding improves during the preschool years. The toddler's sentences become longer over the 2 to 3 year period. She can now use as many as 4 words in a sentence in the sequence of subject, verb, object, location. So, slowly and gradually, when the toddler is during the end of toddlerhood and during the 2 to 3 year period, the child can use different sentences by adding at least 4 words in it, by having a sequence, a proper sequence of subject, verb, object and location. So in this way, the child is able to form a sentence in a proper manner. If a child has acquired a grammatical form, it does not mean that she will use it consistently. For example, having learned the usage of plurals, she may not use them each time. She may use them whenever she remembers or whenever she feels or whenever he or she feels that here a particular sentence or word would be correct, but not every time he or she would use. Every time the people or the parents have to tell them the correct usage of a particular word and what is the meaning of a particular word and how to use it in a proper situation, in the given situation. The child is still learning its usage and therefore uses it in some instances and not in others, because the child is still learning it. He or she is not confident enough of using it in every instance, but wherever the child finds it comfortable or suitable, the child uses. But it is a responsibility and duty of the parents or of the caregivers to tell the child its proper usage and to tell him or her where to use it and what is the meaning of the word. The child's use of language improves over the preschool years. During the preschool years, the child's use of language, the skill development, language acquiring, sentence formation, proper sentence formation, accurate sentence formation improves over these years. Language learning, children's mistakes. Toddlers often use a single word to refer to different objects in which they note some commonality. One child used the word kitty to refer to cats, dogs and sheep. So cats, dogs and sheep are under the category of kitty for a particular child. So this error in language learning is called overgeneralization. When children generalize a particular word under which different words are kept. So, a single word to refer to different objects in which they note any commonality, or if it is an animal, if it is a plant, if it is any other object or a thing, then the child uses different objects under that particular word. So this language error is known as overgeneralization, when children try to generalize the things under one particular category. All children overgeneralize, but the overgeneralizations which a particular child uses are unique. It is not as if all children will use the word ball for grapes and apples. So a particular thing which is round can be used as ball, or can be used as orange, or a particular thing which is red can be called as apple. So every child uses the words which are unique. Every child uses overgeneralizations, but the words are always unique. Children also underextend a word. That is, they use a word to refer to one particular object. One child used the word cup to refer to her own cup only. Another used the word doggy only for the family pet. These are cases of underextension, wherein the particular word is used only for their own object or only for their own thing. For example, bag. That can be only their bag. The others' bags, they don't find it similar, but their own or their particular thing, they extend it. They see it as their own, as if they possess it and they see it as their own. So that is the case of underextension, where only a particular thing they see which is theirs and not other things. How children use language. Functions of language. Once the child begins to speak, she discovers that language has many uses. Using language, she can express her needs. She can make requests and demands. More water, want all, extra, give me. So, when a language is acquired by a child, so during using that language, he or she can express their needs and their requirements, whatever they want more or whatever they want. If she does not want to do something, she makes it clear in no, uncertain terms, no eat, no go, no play. So it means that a child does not want to do a particular thing, and that is explained by their own unique language. Not this frock. It means that they don't want to wear this particular frock. No eat, it means they don't want to eat this particular thing. She also uses speech to direct the attention of others to herself and influence their behavior. She also uses speech and different words in that speech to direct or to attract the attention, if they are not listening, to attract the attention to herself of other people, and also tell them what he or she wants and to influence their behavior towards herself or himself. Variations in language acquisition are always there. There is an instance of a child who was exposed to 3 languages but spoke not a word for the first 4 years. Then, to the amazement of everyone around, he spoke in complete sentences all of a sudden. So once he started speaking, he picked up all 3 languages. So this is also in the amazement of others, that when for a certain time the child is not able to speak a language or a word, and suddenly he or she is able to speak complete sentences of that language. So that also makes other people, that also amazes the other people. Toddlers will differ in the number of words they know and the type of sentences they speak. So different toddlers differ in the number of words. They have their own number of words they know, and the type of sentences, the sentences and the number of words are unique to them. Even children living in the same family differ in their vocabulary, language styles, and the ages at which they reach the milestones of language development. Even children living in the same family, they also differ in the vocabulary or in the word usage, in the way they acquire a language, in the rate which they acquire a language, their language styles, the ages at which they reach the milestone of the language development. Some children learn the language quickly, some in a slower manner, some have more words to speak, some have very less words to speak, whereas some has limited words to speak. So the rate in which their vocabulary increases, that is also different for different children, not only outside but in the same family as well. But obviously they are learning to speak, and much later their speech will acquire the complexity of adult speech. But yes, children are learning to speak, they are learning to express, they are learning to form short sentences, or they are learning to form couple phrases or a long sentence. But yes, they are learning in their own unique way, and in the later ages their speech will also acquire the complexity or the understanding of adult speech. In the way the adults speak, they will also acquire that particular speech in the later years to come. So it was all about, the session was all about to learn a language by when a child, how the child learns a language, and the rate of vocabulary, the rate of words with which one speaks, the language style, everything. So when a child is small, the language learning is slower, as and when the child grows slowly and gradually, the language learning also becomes faster and the vocabulary increases. So these are some of the questions, you have to do it yourself. Question number 1, what are the characteristics of the first words that toddlers acquire? And second, how language helps the toddlers? In other words, for what purposes does she use the language? That's all we have for you in this session. Thank you. Happy learning, we learning.